Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of the Cascading Potions. Just covering off quickly what we did last time, we got up to writing this spawn potion at top, and we talked about how we're also going to be writing this find lowest index of null. By the end of this video, we're going to have the full Cascading Potions work, and we'll be wrapping up a lot of the actual logic of this project, and instead start working on some more nicer features. So just as a quick refresher, the reason why we were writing this spawn potion at top is when we are running through our refill potion, and we've checked our board to see if we have either a null potion or we've reached the top of the board. We're now dealing with the situation where we've actually reached the top of the board and we haven't found a potion to replace it with, and we're going to spawn that new potion at the top and have it slide in. So in order to do that, I'm going to get rid of this not implemented exception, and we're going to create an int index that will be equal to find index of lowest null. And that's going to find in our column of potions the lowest potion that is currently null. And we'll create a template method here, and then we'll come back to it a bit later. So it's going to be a private int find index of lowest null. It's going to pass in an int x, and I'll just have it return x for now so that it works. And I need to uncapitalize that in. Okay, we're going to have an int location to move to. So this is going to be 8 minus our index, and that's basically going to say I'm going to move from the top of the board down to a lower location. And I'll throw in a debug.log statement here that's basically just going to say, about to spawn a potion. Ideally, I'd like to put it in the index of, and we'll just give the index here of the index. We need to get a random potion to spawn here, so that'll be get a random potion. We've done this before. It's an int random index equals random.range between 0 and the potion prefabs.length. Okay, so now that we have a random index to create our potion for, let's create a game object. We'll call it new potion, and we'll instantiate a potion prefabs at random index. And then we're going to have a new vector2. We just need to give it a location to spawn into. That's going to be x minus the spacing that we have, and the height minus the spacing of y. We're then going to spawn that in at quaternion.identity. And now we have our new potion. We then need to set indices on the potion and set it on the potion board, and then move it to that location. So we're going to say new potion dot get component of the type potion. And with that potion, we're going to set indices, and we'll just give it x and the index, because the index is going to be the y in this case. Then we're going to create a new spot on the potion board. That's going to be potion board at x and y index equals new node. It's a true because we are going to be able to place a potion there, and we're going to put the new potion there. Finally, we need to move it to that location. So we're going to create the target location first. So it'll be a vector3, we'll call it target position equals a new vector3 of new potion.transform.position.x. And we're going to do that for the y and the z. So I'm just going to copy this. We're going to minus the location to move to here because we need to move down on the y-axis. And then transform position.z for our z-axis. And then finally, we just need to move that potion to the location. So we're going to say a component, potion, move to target. We've used this many times before, and target position. There is something as well that I think I might like to add to this. Because we're going to be constantly creating new potions throughout the project, the hierarchy is going to get a bit messy, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is just create a new empty, and I'm just going to call it potions. We'll set it to 0, 0, 0. And we're going to make it a parent in here as well. So I'm going to jump into the top. We'll add a new reference to this game object. We'll just pop it here is fine. Public game object. And we'll call that potion parent. And then down when we are doing our setting here, we instantiate the new potion. Let's move it directly as a child of the parent potion. So I'm going to say new potion.transform.set parent. And then we just need to give it the potion parent.transform. And I'll copy this line as well, because the only other time that we are creating potions on the board, this replaces them, as well as when we first initialize the board. So inside of initialize board, when we're spawning these potions here, we instantiate our potion again. And then I'm just going to say, this won't be new potion in this case, this will just be potion, because that's what we called it there. So we'll say potion.setPotion here. And now if we go back, we just have to set that inside of the potion board as the potion parent. And if we hit play, you can see everything runs the same. but we now just have this nicely childed, and every time we create a new potion, it's going to go straight into that parent potion hierarchy. Okay, so jumping back here, the reason why we've got this find lowest index of null is because this index is going to be used to work out the location we're actually trying to place the potion in. Let's say I have 8 potions in my column and the top 3 just got removed from a match. I would want to reduce it to the index of the lowest null, which is then going to be, in this case, 5, I suppose, because you've removed 3 out of your 8. We're then able to call this process recursively, and it will just refill up until it gets to the very top of the potion. So this is quite a simple method. It's just an int lowest null, and we're going to set this to 99 first, because if we were to set it to nothing, it would default to 0, and if it defaults to 0, 0 would actually be the bottom potion on our board. So we're setting it to a high number, so we know if we ever hit an index of 99, we've run into a problem. And then I'm just going to say for int y equals 7, because every index starts at 0. Y is greater than or equal to 0, y minus minus. So we're going to move down that list. And we're going to say if potion board xy, and the xy here in this case is the x that we've passed in, and the y that we're doing in our list. Dot potion is equal to null, then lowest null equals y, and then at the very end of that, rather than just returning x, we're going to return lowest null. Oh, and I've got an extra comma in there. Okay, so that's largely the logic that we're going to need for this. There's a few fix-ups I want to do now that I've realized since the last tutorial that were a bit of a problem. And one of them happened inside of our take action. This actually is supposed to only try and rematch the board when take action is set to true. And I've got it currently outside of the loop. And what this does is if it runs on its own right now, it will continuously check board until it runs out of memory, and then it will jump. And we don't want it to do that, obviously. It's meant to sit inside of take action. And that means that only when we're trying to take action do we take action to remove the potions, then check to see if we have new matches. And if we do, then let's do that process. I also want to add to the start of this just a loop at the very beginning that just removes everything that is currently matched. And we're going to handle that by doing a for each, and we're going to loop through the node. We'll call this node potion, and it will be inside of our potion board. And so we're looping through each node of our potion board, and we're going to say if node potion dot potion is not equal to null. So if we have a potion in that space, then what we want to do is just set the matched of that potion to false. So node potion dot get component potion and dot is matched equals false. So now all this is really going to do is just say at the very start of your checkboard, just have nothing as matched. We don't want to worry about previous matches carrying over, because we really just want to, when we're starting a checkboard, start as if it's completely fresh and check the whole board again. And then the other step that we have here is we're removing and refilling potions, but we're setting these potions to true. And I just like it to be cleaner that none of these, even though we're going to be deleting them, are set to matched at the time. We want to unmatch them, know the ones that are connected here, and just remove them out. So we'll add this step in here. That's another for each. And we'll say potion to remove in potions to remove. So for each of the ones that get added to this potion to remove, we're then going to unmatch them because we're actually going to take action on these now. So we'll say potion to remove dot is matched equals false. Then we go through, actually remove the potions, then we check to see if we have any extra matches in our board, and then we return that process, or we actually go through and check a second match. Okay, and I've just realized one other error here. I had an if potion board is equal to, and I didn't say is equal to, I actually set it to null, so it has to be 2 equal signs. And save, and now let's see how that actually works. So if I hit play, we should get our normal process. The board is going to recreate itself as per usual until it hits a point where it's finally ready to go. It's time to start the game. We should now be able to click and move a potion. Let's say I'm going to remove this red match here, and I should see potions spawn up here and slide down as well. So we're going to click and move, and you can see they slide down into the new location. And for these potions, we have to make sure that everything is still marked as unmatched. So I'm just going to scroll through all this. Nothing's marked as matched, so that's looking good. And it's going to be a difficult one to show you an example of, but I'll just cut to a moment where I do a double match. And that's where I'm going to do one match here. The potions are going to slide into a location and then perform a second match. And that's going to show you how you get to this if tag action, and then you have this double match logic going on here. So I'll just be a moment. Okay, so we're at a point here now where I have 2 green potions here. I have a green potion here, and I have white potions here and above here. So what's going to happen is if I move this match to make a 3 green match, these potions should slide down to the bottom location. There'll be a white potion here, a white potion here, and a white potion here, and I should get a secondary 4 match, and that will prove that the secondary matching is also working in that case. So move down, and you can see it moves those other potions as well as moving these potions. So that's great. Everything looks like it's working, and that's basically the logic for what we're going to do. And the next tutorial, we're going to take a look at adding in things like an end of game, a point scoring system, and we're going to start improving just a bit more of the user experience, add a bit of background and stuff like that. It might be in 2 parts, but ultimately you've got a lot of the logic now for how this is going to work. It's a fully functioning match 3 game. And you can expand from this point on and go and make any kind of extra logic you want to. If you have any ideas, feel free to throw them in the comments as well. I can have a look at them after we do a lot of this sort of prettying up of the game. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. As always, these videos are made possible by my Patreon supporters. In the silver tier, we have Lanky Moose, Castle Coders, Zope, Sunday Roast, Jim Hawkins with Halloumi, and Hickey92. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you would like to join as well, it's patreon.com/Flarvain, and I will see you guys in the next video.